Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here with my next Boruto anime episode review. This one is going to be for episode 22, which is called Connected Feelings. And yeah, this is the fourth episode in the Gaiden arc. And yeah, this was a really good episode. They subtly, I think, changed some stuff from what the manga covers here, but I think to an overall kind of better effect, improving on some of the slight weaknesses of the manga. And I think it's a pretty easy episode, I think, to review because it's kind of a theme focused episode, and in this episode that theme was, what does it mean to be family to someone? In the early sections of the episode you had Shin Uchiha talking about his children, the clones, and his perspective on what family means, and it's all about genes and just that's all that kind of reproduction basically continues on, with Sakura being the one during that section of the story to present the idea that it's more to that it is also, it's kind of that line of thinking from Shin Uchiha is forgetting about feelings and actually caring about the people around you, which obviously Shin Uchiha isn't doing. Later on when we meet Orochimaru, we see that he kind of presents a similar thing, in that he puts it into Sarada's head that a way to test for sure who her mother is to do a DNA test, and basically saying that that's all family is. It's just relations, that the reason you look like your father is because of genes and so on. But I did also like that within that scene Orochimaru to Naruto kind of just on his own just said, and the boy is doing well, and Naruto just said that yes, he is doing well, which is obviously a reference to Mitsuki, and that Naruto is aware that that Mitsuki is Orochimaru's son, and Orochimaru seemed quite happy about that in the sense of kind of proud as like a father, which kind of to some degree contradicts a little bit of what he was saying earlier on of it just being about genes, and that maybe we'll see some more development for Orochimaru to get across how much or not he does actually care about Mitsuki. Is there any love there, or is it just like, oh, here is a child that I made and this child is prospering, though that is good type thing. But I like that it gave extra context to that scene when Boruto brought Mitsuki over. In that it was kind of weird, like, does Naruto know? But this made it clear that, okay, when Boruto brought Mitsuki over, it was actually this like, oh, Naruto is completely aware of who this actually is. It's not just some random person from the class. Naruto's aware that Mitsuki is Orochimaru's son. So that was important stuff early on in the episode, and it led to, of course, the big reveal, I suppose, in the episode of just Sarada asking Suigetsu to do a DNA test and against Karin. So what he does is Sarada's right there, gets some of her DNA, we assume a hair or something like that, and then with Karin, who isn't even there, he just seems to know where her umbilical cord is, and obviously that's going to be the big thing of just like, what sort of a DNA test was this? In that, I like that they animated Suigetsu with the kind of bead of sweat on his face the entire time, that he wasn't exactly sure what he was doing. In that, why does Karin have her own umbilical cord? It's a bit weird. And of course, knowing who she is and so on and stuff they reveal later on, it turns out to be a bit of a mess, this whole DNA test, and it doesn't mean what everyone thinks it means. And I thought the anime made it a little bit clearer than the manga that Naruto is equally as shocked by this in terms of what this means for Sasuke, and that what did you do, Sasuke? How did this even happen? I like that he gave it to Suigetsu for messing this all up, like he kind of always tends to, and then was about to give out to Sasuke. Obviously, there's more important stuff to do right now, but when they have a chance, Naruto is going to give out to Sasuke for what happened, because he isn't exactly sure about the mix-up himself. So, that was an interesting dynamic, but I think the main scene in the episode for sure has to be Sarada's reaction to this and the scene with Naruto afterwards, in that of course, for Sarada, it's this huge moment of this kind of big lie for her being revealed, that the person she's thought is her mom isn't actually her real mom, and it's all about lies, and what does this actually mean in relation to like why, you know, Sasuke never comes back, my father never comes back. And she, like she says to Naruto here, like, I don't have a real family because the person I thought was my mother is my mother, and then I don't really know my father. So it's this, from Sarada's perspective, you get why it is such a big thing, because it confirms to her that she doesn't know her real family, and it's this kind of dark moment for her. Hence why the Sharingan comes back quite heavily here. But and she kind of tries to say as well that, you know, like, Lord Seventh, you lied to me as well. But I like what they do here in that it obviously comes down to Sarada telling Naruto, you know, you wouldn't understand kind of how I'm feeling right now. And I always like with Naruto that that's one thing, for the most part, no character can ever really say to him and have the conversation just end. Because of what he's been through, he does understand. And I wish they'd made it a little clearer that perhaps that was kind of part of like what happened here in this scene, that it was the connection of Naruto kind of holding on to Sarada, and her maybe not seeing it but understanding from just looking at Naruto that he's been through all of this. Fundamentally, that was what it was meant to portray, but them showing us those flashback scenes of Naruto, and then Sarada not necessarily having a reaction as such to like the connection of Naruto and his past, was a little weird that they didn't like emphasize that like the way I thought they would. But what he says to her then is obviously the core of this, and that is that, you know, it's not all about, you know, blood and history and genes. It's fundamentally all just about, you know, feelings of love, as he says. And the basic idea being that, you know, you don't know if Karin is your actual mother. You never knew her, so can you actually say that she's your mother because you don't know anything about her? Whereas Sakura, even though right now it seems like it's been revealed that she's no longer your mother, cared for you all of this time and cares about you in that way, and you care about her. Does that not make her your mother if you didn't know any different? And it makes her obviously think about all of this, and she reflects back on all those times where like her mother, with Sasuke not around, always was there for her in terms of when she was sick. She looked after her, and then remembers that really nice flashback scene of just I suppose what's meant to be one of the first times that Sarada really asked her mother about why Sasuke wasn't around. And it's, you know, obviously the reassuring stuff from Sakura that we saw earlier on in the episode, but then I think the big part of this is Sarada then asks Sakura, you know, did you ever kiss Dad? And in the manga, like, there's been a lot of interpretation of the manga scenes of this one, in that it kind of makes it seem like she has to like think, and is kind of embarrassed in a way where like it's almost like the answer is no, that like they've just never kissed, which is crazy to think about. But I like the way they did the animation here, in that the smoothness of that scene and what it portrayed, just with like that one kind of changing of expressions from Sakura, made it really clear of just like when just this idea being brought up, she thinks about, you know, kissing Sasuke, gets embarrassed remembering those moments, and then immediately transitions into like, okay, I'm not going to directly tell her about all of these moments. So, no, there's actually something more important. And Sarada, of course, goes, you know, that's pervy. And what ends up coming out is that, like, you know, you'll understand later on when you meet your father. And Sakura is the one to give Sarada the forehead poke as this big notable moment. And I like when we kind of come out of the flashback, Sarada is kind of holding her forehead, kind of understanding the connection even without really properly understanding the connection. And she decides that she will actually go after and try to save her mother. So, you know, that I think that's the core of this episode. I don't think it was a like brilliant episode, but it definitely was a very meaningful episode in terms of like some of the big scenes that it had here. The Naruto Sarada scene, as I just explained, and even some of the stuff with Orochimaru was quite interesting. It's just it is kind of a little bit of a frustrating plot point, the whole, you know, DNA mismatch thing, and like, oh, a Suigetsu miscommunication moment. That's what causes a lot of the issues here. Makes me hope that, like, I assume based on the preview, it looks like next week's episode is going to be the last one of this arc, potentially. I think so. I hope it's extended out enough that it gets that it adds a little bit more depth than what the ending of the manga kind of gave, in terms of like rounding off a lot of these plot points, and that like right now it looks like Sasuke is this like awful person for what he did to Sakura, when it actually isn't the case. And like when does like Suigetsu you know, when do all the characters find out that the DNA test was a mix-up, I suppose? And how does that all get resolved? I'd like a little bit more focus on that side of things. And then just, I'm obviously excited to see how they do the resolution, and that obviously the big fight stuff is about to happen. Shin Uchiha's back after healing himself and is going to fight. And it looks like they have Sakura cornered, but I like that even though Sarada's really annoyed at her father for everything she's just heard, the second she comes back with Naruto, one of the first things she hears Sasuke say is in relation to like Orochimaru saying, you know, like, oh, Sakura might be dead already or surrounded by all those Shin Uchihas. And then Sasuke's just like, no, my wife isn't that weak. And and Sarada, who's having all these doubts, is suddenly like, oh wait, he's calling her his wife. He's, you know, praising her strength. You know, maybe I'm wrong about a lot of this, and it was a nice moment to have, in that she's been doubting her father so much, and then it was just this moment of like, oh, there's something here. I just have to kind of understand who Sasuke as a character is, and that he's not going to be the one like Naruto who's always completely aware and, you know, keeping track of people's feelings, and, you know, approaching people in the best way in relation to how they're feeling. So yeah, I think that's most of the episode. As I said, not the greatest episode, in that it very much is just this part of this arc. But there are some notable moments in here that I really liked. But in the comments, let me know what your thoughts were on the episode, as well as what I had to say here in the video. But yeah, that has been the video for today. Thanks for watching, and bye.